A U.S.-guided missile destroyer ship docked in Port of Spain on Sunday as Washington looks to intensify its military presence amid a continued standoff with Venezuela.
Meteorologists warn Category 4 Hurricane Melissa threatens catastrophic flooding in Jamaica and Haiti.
Moscow says it has successfully tested a new nuclear missile, with Russian President Vladimir Putin saying it is, quote, unlike any other in the world.
A U.S. warship docked in Trinidad and Tobago's capital, Port of Spain, on Sunday as the Trump administration looks to boost its military presence in the region amid a continued standoff with Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Washington deployed the USS Gravely, a guided missile destroyer, which comes in addition to the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier already in proximity to Venezuela. According to officials in Trinidad and Tobago, the U.S. Navy ship will remain in their country until Thursday and will play host to some military exercises between both nations. Maduro slammed the move as a hostile provocation, calling it an attempt by the U.S. government to, quote, fabricate a new eternal war. The U.S. has so far carried out 9 strikes in the Caribbean Sea against what it says are Venezuelan drug-carrying boats. Trump says it's his duty to continue fighting the entry of illicit drugs into his country, which pose a grave risk to U.S. citizens. He claims the drugs, arriving mostly from Venezuela, are dealt by Maduro himself, who he previously called the world's biggest narco-trafficker.
Meteorologists have warned that Hurricane Melissa, which is sustaining Category 5 strength, may cause catastrophic flooding and numerous landslides in the Caribbean. According to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, Melissa is expected to move near or over Jamaica early Tuesday, then cross Cuba into the southeastern Bahamas through Wednesday. On Monday, the National Hurricane Center said Melissa had maximum sustained winds of 260 kilometers per hour as it moved westward. In response, some residents in Jamaica began to take precautions and tried to stock up on adequate food to weather the storm. Officials warned that some communities in Jamaica may not survive the catastrophic flash floods that could occur from some 38 to 76 centimeters of rain in Jamaica and the Southern Caribbean's second largest island, Hispaniola, by Wednesday. At least 4 people were killed by Melissa in Haiti and in the Dominican Republic over the weekend.
The party of Argentinian President Javier Milei has won Sunday's midterm election, scoring over 40% of the votes. His La Libertad Avanza party won the crucial election to renew almost half of the lower house of Congress, according to tallies with more than 97% of votes counted. The election offered an important vote of confidence to strengthen Milei's plan for a radical free market policy, backed by billions of dollars pledged by U.S. President Donald Trump. The Argentine leader won decisive victories in key districts, sweeping 8 in Sunday's vote. Trump has promised a $40 billion rescue for the nation and has made further aid contingent on Milei's victory.
An Egyptian convoy with heavy equipment, including excavators and bulldozers, entered Gaza overnight into Sunday. The team will help search and retrieve the remaining bodies of Israeli hostages. It is the first time Israel has allowed for the entry of Egyptian vehicles to help with the search. Under the U.S.-brokered ceasefire, Israel agreed to give back 15 bodies of imprisoned Palestinians for every body of an Israeli hostage. However, the massive destruction of the Strip has made it difficult for Hamas to find the remaining bodies. On Sunday, the militant group expanded its search in new areas of the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, local authorities reported Israeli forces struck a refugee camp in Gaza on Saturday night. The Israeli military claimed it targeted Islamic Jihad militants, while the group denied it was preparing an attack. Hamas called the strike a, quote, clear violation of the ceasefire agreement.
French police have arrested 2 suspects over the jewellery theft at the Louvre Museum last week, say Paris prosecutors. The 2 men, one of whom was trying to board a flight, can now be questioned by authorities for up to 96 hours. Items worth €88 million were taken from the world's most visited museum last Sunday, when 4 thieves broke into the building via a balcony in broad daylight. They used a vehicle-mounted mechanical lift and power tools. Around 8 pieces of historic jewellery were removed, all associated with French 19th century royalty. The heist has been criticised as a national humiliation by some, raising questions over the museum's security. Left-wing independent candidate Catherine Connolly will become the 10th President of Ireland after winning elections by a landslide victory. She won 63% of first preference votes, once spoiled votes were excluded, compared to just 29% of her rival Heather Humphreys of the centre-right party Fine Gael. 68-year-old Connolly has promised to be a voice for peace and one that, quote, builds on our policy of neutrality.
And together we can shape a new republic that values everybody, that values and champions diversity, and that takes confidence in our own identity, our Irish language, our English language, and the new people who have come to our country.
The former barrister has been a strong critic of both the European Union and the United States, denouncing the EU's plans to ramp up military spending. Russian defense forces have successfully tested a new type of missile, capable of covering a distance of at least 14,000 kilometers, says the Kremlin. During a visit to a command post for troops fighting in Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin hailed his country's military achievements.
Речь идет о испытании крылатой ракеты неограниченной дальности «Буревестник» с ядерной энергетической установкой. Знаю, что у меня есть доклад и со стороны промышленности, в целом известные оценки Министерства обороны. Это все-таки уникальное изделие, которого в мире не...
The Burevestnik missile is believed to be able to carry a nuclear warhead or a conventional one, and could potentially stay aloft for a much longer time than other missiles, thanks to nuclear propulsion.
Добрый день, добрый вечер.
I always thought just being ready is the point. It keeps the villain in check. Keeps the world straight. They see how prepared we are. No one starts a nuclear war.
Approximately 3 minutes ago, we detected an ICBM over the Pacific. Current flight trajectory is consistent with impact somewhere in the continental United States.
Have we seen that country before? No.
Well, I think it's something we need to be constantly aware of. We've sort of normalized it, and it's kind of become quiet, almost too quiet. And my hope is the reduction of the nuclear stockpile. I mean, I know that's a lofty hope, but it would be amazing.
I hope a general audience would maybe put some pressure on government officials to reopen this conversation at least, and let's have a full and honest conversation about the system that we've put in place, because it doesn't seem maybe like the best system. I mean, this movie shows the system working at its best, at its most efficient, and the end result of it is pretty scary. So maybe we should reconsider the system itself.